This episode is sponsored by Verve. Check the link in the description below to get a 30-day ad-free trial of Verve Premium. More details at the end of the video. On March 26, 2018, users will no longer be able to add funds to the Wii Shop Channel, basically signaling the death of the service. Though it's gonna actually stay around until January, you just can't add money to it, so you basically have like 10 months to just look at games that you can no longer buy if you didn't add enough money in. That's a very weird decision, Nintendo. The Wii Shop Channel, arguably one of the most important aspects of the Wii's success, which, as we all remember, was a bit of a phenomenon.
And when oh, jeez. And there goes the tennis racket. I didn't have it on there all the way.
Ah, the memories. Nowadays, I think it's easy to forget how big of a deal the Wii Shop Channel became. Aw man, Amazon Instant Video! Especially with modern online shops offering full retail titles. Meanwhile, the Virtual Console was the Wii's big online draw. They managed to sell NES Donkey Kong for $5 and get away with it. Imagine that! Oh yeah, I bought it too. What can I tell you? A Nintendo fanboy knows no bounds. Seriously though, Virtual Console on Wii was kinda magical. Sure, emulation on computers was definitely a thing, but getting these games officially re-released on a console for either nostalgia's sake or finding a gem that you missed out on was incredibly enticing. Even the act of purchasing the games gave you a bit of a blast to the past. And if you were so fortunate to get Fire Mario, whoo boy, you really had a party on your hands. From Nintendo's own classics, major third-party games on Nintendo's consoles, games from Nintendo's old competition, and even some Neo Geo and arcade titles, it was a really stacked lineup. Man, where to even begin here? Super Mario RPG, Sonic the Hedgehog, Donkey Kong 3, The Adventures of Lolo 1 and 2, you got King's Knight, Dig Dug, Chu Man Fu. It was a smorgasbord of retro goodness. And a dash of weirdness. Super Street Fighter 2 for Genesis even had online support. What the hell? And yeah, not every single heavy hitter was here. Remember, this was an era where Nintendo would barely acknowledge the fact that the word mother existed. Meanwhile, nowadays, Earthbound can get ported to the new 3DS, and it's not even the biggest news of that direct. Each console also had its own uniform prices, meaning mostly every NES game was $5, every Super Nintendo game was $8, etc, etc. Which made, realistically, no sense. The fact that Kirby's Adventure and Urban Champion are the same price is, that's just wrong. But man, how many people finally got introduced to the TurboGrafx 16 here? At the time the Wii came out, I had no idea this machine even existed, but it turns out there was another great classic console that existed back in the day. And it's thanks to the Wii Shop Channel that I, and presumably many others, realized that as well. Seriously man, Bonk's Revenge, Soldier Blade, it was a good console. The Wii U had a Virtual Console as well, but it just didn't have the same amount of entertainment. People simply weren't as interested. Though admittedly that does probably speak more towards the interest in the Wii U rather than the Virtual Console itself, but hey, it is what it is. At least we can say the Wii U does have a proper Animal Crossing game on it. It's okay, really. I'm actually crying on the inside. The Wii's Virtual Console also helped spark a huge interest in new titles that played like retro titles, Mega Man 9 being a perfect example, and now we move on to WiiWare. WiiWare was Nintendo's solution for original downloadable titles, and it brought us a lot of interesting games. Like I just mentioned, Mega Man 9 and then later Mega Man 10 were huge, and sure, they were released on other consoles as well, but given how the games were designed, it almost fit more to be on the same console that you can purchase 1 through 6 on. And other companies took the same approach with their games, most notably Konami with their Rebirth games. Gradius, Contra, and Castlevania all made retro returns under this title. And while they weren't necessarily groundbreaking, they're all pretty fun, and they have a very retro aesthetic, which is simply neat. Sunsoft made a new, albeit very, very ugly Blaster Master game. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 made its way to the service. That's about as much as I'll say on the subject. Bubble Bobble made a grand return to console. Naturally, Bomberman showed up as well, and even Nintendo themselves made a brand new Dr. Mario game with online play. Well, it did have it, at least. But more surprising from the big N, a brand new Excitebike game with World Rally. The Wii actually had 2 completely new games in the Excite series, but seeing a return to form from the same developers was just plain old neat. Sadly, a majority of the unlockables are tied behind online play, which once again, is not a thing, but still, for what it is, it's pretty fun. And while that's certainly cool and all, there were a bunch of totally original games as well that made it to the service. Cave Story, oh man, this game got a remastered port on WiiWare, and this was a big deal as well. The indie game that was cool before being an indie game was cool. It made its very first ever jump to a console with updated graphics and music, with the original presentation there as an option as well. It was awesome. The Bit Trip series started off here as well, a group of 6 games that blended Atari 2600 pixel art with really trippy visual effects and rhythm-based gameplay. Most of the games had very different gameplay styles, but they still fit under the same mold, and it was just really cool. Runner, in particular, managed to get a few sequels as well, but it all started here on WiiWare. Lost Winds and its sequel, Winter of the Melodious, are really atmospheric 2D platformers where you use the pointer to control a gust of wind to help the main character move around the world. And similarly, Nick's Quest Kindred Spirits, which has the same basic idea, but it's level-based as opposed to Lost Winds' open world approach. And then just speaking of the pointer, you got World of Goo. This was a very interesting puzzle game featuring a really unique art style. And oh man, I've been waiting to talk about this forever. Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people. We'll keep this brief for now. Homestar Runner was a long-running series of web cartoons that I was a massive fan of, and out of nowhere, Telltale made a 5-episode adventure game based on the world and its endless list of characters, featuring the wrestler behind a mask who mostly answers emails, Strong Bad, and it was great. And I mean, come on, the game's title is Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people. How could you really go wrong? And this is all great so far, right? Despite what you may think, WiiWare does have quite a selection of titles to choose from. The thing is, a lot of these games, specifically all the ones I've mentioned so far, are available on other consoles and Steam, essentially making a WiiWare version of them relatively pointless. You could get Cave Story on WiiWare, it was a big deal at the time, but now it's on Switch. With a physical cart too. There's no reason to buy the original. That being said, there are plenty of exclusive titles that have not been ported anywhere else. This is gonna be a really deep rabbit hole. Nintendo brought out 2 big original titles to the service. First off, there's Fluidity, a pretty nifty puzzle game where you tilt your Wii remote to control a body of water to save this magical book from this dark, evil goo. It's a bit over the top, but it's pretty fun. And then there's Banzai Barber, and boy am I excited to say this next sentence. It is a game where you give fruits, vegetables, and plants haircuts. Okay, now we're talking, now we're getting weird here. I mean, don't get me wrong, the game is enjoyable and does have a good amount of charm, but man, it's just weird. Nintendo would also go on to make a game based on their old Ultra Hand toy. Interesting idea, it was a Club Nintendo exclusive and I never picked it up, but I gotta say, it has an absolutely beautiful trailer.
How has Grill Off with Ultra Hand changed your life? Wonderful.
Well, boy howdy, give me 10. And then you got games like Rage of the Gladiator, a Punch-Out styled game that takes advantage of the Wii Motion Plus's capabilities. Chick Chick Boom, a really fun 1 vs 1 game where you try to kill the other team's army of bouncing chickens with a bunch of different wacky weapons. Jet Rocket, actually a fairly competent 3D platformer, which is always just nice to see. There's also Let's Catch, which is an odd one. You simply play catch with people, but it has a shockingly too real storyline. Wow. And by God, there is a penguin raising simulator with Snowpack Park. The Wii was a wild time. However, of course, there is another side to the spectrum. And yeah, like the Wii itself, there was a ton of crap on WiiWare as well. Just completing a very basic search, there was a whole series of games under the family line. From tennis to mini golf to hosting pirate parties? What? This family either really gets around a lot or has a major problem trying to figure out one thing to do on family get-togethers. And I'm sure all of these games are an absolute blast to play, but I gotta be realistic here, I'm only gonna get 2 of these. I'm not much of a family man, I guess you could say. Okay, yep, okay, this is pretty bad. I mean, why would you play Mario Kart when you could play as my favorite character, Daddy, and beat Mommy in racing? That sounds like fun. And also, I can't really trust a family who calls air hockey glide hockey. That's a big red flag right there. The more I explore the innards of the Wii Shop Channel, the more I realize this is a very, enlightening experience. I gotta find something really special to end things off with. This is the Wii we're talking about here. The releases on this console had no limits. It was a minefield that was only compared to like freeware PC gaming in the mid to late 90s. There has to be something absolutely crazy here. Okay, what kind of title is this? I don't know what's more concerning here, the lack of capitalization or the fact that it ends with an exclamation mark. This is not the name of a video game, this is someone shouting at you. Enjoy your massage! Oh boy, wow, okay, this is, did not, you know what, don't get me wrong here, I really would like to play this. I believe I am the game's target demographic, I certainly do enjoy me some lovely manga-styled women, but I'm not about to get demonetized today, so whew, I guess we'll save this for another day. Oh yeah, here we go. Now this seems perfect. Muscle March. Oh no. Oh no. You know, I think for the first time ever, I think I'm actually upset that a game runs at 60 frames per second. Oh no, a football player has stolen everyone's protein powder. Thankfully, someone's dead grandpa is here to guide us in the right direction. I guess I could try to explain what's going on the screen, but I think this is a perfect example of a picture being worth 1,000 words. I just really don't want the explanation of this game to come out of my mouth. Doesn't take too long though before you finally get your powder back and, I don't know, save the world, I guess? Oh, okay, that was an alien. I'm glad WiiWare's dead. So, the Wii Shop Channel. What a legacy it's leaving behind. It is certainly leaving one of those. Now, before it is too late, there are definitely some games that are worth picking up. Quite a handful of quality titles are here, whether or not they were exclusive to this dying platform or not. And I am certain there is a few more that I simply missed. Thankfully, a lot of the really great titles are now readily available on other consoles and Steam, so even if these versions won't be available to be purchased very soon, they'll still exist somehow, somewhere. No real specifics here, just take a look at this footage of Echo the Dolphin real quick. Wii Shop Channel, you brought us some great times, some weird games, a newfound love for retro titles, and a killer online shopping theme song. Boy, the Wii Shop Channel theme is so good. Like, they didn't really need to, you're just looking to buy games with real life money, but they made a really good theme song that made its way into Smash Brothers 2. Man, that was, good job. Good job, guys, that's a really good song. I wouldn't say the Wii Shop Channel is gonna be missed, but it'll certainly be appreciated. Thank you, you blue shopping bags, and may you rest in peace. Well, damn. That got a little bit emotional at the very end. Sorry for bringing things down to a very down note. How about this? Now that we're all calm and relaxed, let's take a nice deep breath in front of a cozy fire. This cost me $5. I'm glad WiiWare's dead. Alright, so no fancy transitions this time around. I couldn't really think of anything, but that's not gonna stop me. I gotta tell you all about the quality service that is Verve. Verve is a service available on multiple devices, combining content from different channels such as Crunchyroll, Funimation, Cartoon Hangover, and more, and presents them all in one uniform place. You got the likes of My Hero Academia subbed or dubbed, Cowboy Bebop, one of my all-time favorites, dubbed as well, dubbed Dragon Ball Super, which is really exciting for me, the brand new season of Bravest Warrior, and that is barely scratching the surface. They also recently added an offline viewing service too, so now you can watch your favorite shows without an internet connection. And the sweet deal to round things off, go to verve.co/AntDude or click the link in the description below now to get a 30-day ad-free trial of Verve Premium. These guys have yet to pull any wrongs by me. Verve continues to be an awesome service, and when you think about it, this kinda teaches you a lesson in perspective. You could spend $5 on an interactive fireplace on the Wii, or you could watch a ton of content on an online streaming service. You tell me what sounds better to you. Verve is awesome, and now it was made even more awesome. So now treat yourself to some quality anime, some quality WiiWare games. You've made it through the video, you deserve it.